Welcome to the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report. This is Amy Zawi. On July 23, 2023, I attended a Survivor Series event in Loudoun County, Virginia, featuring Irene Weiss as speaker. Ms. Weiss is a Holocaust survivor, and she spent time at Auschwitz. She survived the Nazi terror and immigrated to the U.S. She married, raised a family, and contributed to the community as a schoolteacher in Virginia. Irene is gracious and inspirational in sharing her story. While she spoke for nearly 45 minutes for this week's report, we share just a few highlights from her speech as I was fortunate enough to attend in person. Keeping this history alive and relevant is vital in ensuring that we say never again with resolve. These excerpts are shared with the permission of Irene Weiss.
In 1930, I had 39, I knew that was incorrect. And when Nazi Germany dismembered Czechoslovakia in 1939, Irene's town came under Hungarian rule.
Thank you all for coming, spending time to hear a story that is not a pleasant one, but it is the recent history of our Jewish people. So it is a very long story, and I have the pictures were taken in Auschwitz by Nazi photographers. So it's the real thing, authentic, and put into an album at Yad Vashem, and the album went on sale, and it was in the 1980s. My daughter found it in a bookstore and brought it home, and I spent many days looking at every page with a magnifying glass to see if anybody I knew was in it. And as it will become evident, I found myself in it. I did not know I was being photographed, and I found my mother and little brothers, and these pictures are in the museum in Washington, the Holocaust Museum, and exhibited. So I will thank you for inviting me to speak. I was witness to something that needs to be remembered. I'm going to talk to you about a tragic period of history that I lived through and can talk about it firsthand. Even though I'm 92 years old, what happened to me is still very vivid in my memory. By April 1944, most of the Jews of Europe had been killed. The Nazis then turned their attention to the last large Jewish community that remained, the 500,000 Jews of Hungary. I lived in a small town in Hungary with my parents, 5 siblings, and a large extended family. I was 13 years old. My father owned a lumber yard, and my mother took care of the family. We kids attended school, played with the neighborhood kids. In the spring of 1944, on the last day of Passover, Hungarian local officials announced that the Jews in my town had 24 hours to leave their home and with one suitcase each and assemble at the town hall. It was the last day of Passover, but my mother began to bake bread, because that was the way everything was baked at home. To talk about this, but it is unthinkable, it should not be told. And with the years passing, I find it more urgent to tell. So I am really very glad that you all want to know about it and make it a day of time to come and listen to someone like myself, what was done to our Jewish people. As a survivor, I must say, rebuilding faith in people and their institutions takes a long time. A lifetime may not even be enough. I think I will stop here, and I would like to show you, because we didn't see this, saw this after, but this was the entrance. Okay. So this is a train that has just arrived from somewhere in Hungary. We're all getting out of the train, and they're yelling to get out fast and leave everything behind, and the crowd is building on the platform. And you see a lot of people coming out, jumping out of the train. And as soon as everybody was out, orders were shouted. The men should line up to one side and women and children to another side. And that will be happening shortly. But you see all this, just families. Okay, so here is the women and children lining up as they were told, and then the men will also be shown where they are pretty soon. So yes, so the men are maybe Leslie can point out to be sure. Yeah, that men on that group, so that since, and then the women are the lower group, but the women and children have already been made smaller by the selection. You see in the front here are the Nazi guards, and the Nazi guards are also in between the people. And when the women were first processed, when they got to this front and they were separated, the mothers with children and elderly were sent to one side immediately, and the young adults were sent to the other side to be slave labor. I am in this particular picture as I was separated from my family. I'm standing right there, have a kerchief on my head and a very big coat, and I'm bending over to see if I can catch up where my little sister when she was 12 years old. I couldn't see, and I was allowed to just stand there a few seconds, and I was then motioned to move on, and I ended up on the road where my sister went and other young adults. I was absolutely terrified that I somehow lost my little sister. They took her from me, and maybe I should have held on headfast to her. What happened to her? These crowds were moving very fast, and it was very obvious that she was going to be alone. And even though I had no idea that there is a gas chamber waiting for these families, I still was just terrified that she was separated from our mother. This is what they did to them: hair shaved, clothing taken away, all kind of humiliation that they went through this process. It is unspeakable. All look alike, mothers, daughters. If there were any sisters, we recognized each other. The barracks, then we were marched to barracks. This is how the barracks looked. Where the trucks brought all the belongings from the trains, and they were dumped. And there was a special area with barracks, but they didn't put the stuff in the barracks. They dumped them between the barracks. It was our job. There were about 1,000 women assigned to this. It was our job to sort the things out and take them inside the barracks out of the weather, where we then people brought whatever they thought they might need, things that they thought might buy them some area of women and children. And these people just came from the platform. These are the ones who were heading for the gas chamber. But when the Hungarian Jews came, the killing, the gassing was backed up. The 4 gas chambers couldn't keep up with it. So very often people had to wait their turn. These people are near the entrance to a gas chamber. They don't know it. They have no idea. Pictures are being taken of them, and some of them they look like they're looking at a camera. But the interesting, unbelievable thing is that after these pictures were found after the war, and I had an album was put into an album, and I had one. So I was saying that I looked to see, found myself first, and looked to see if I am there. Perhaps I find somebody else in my family. And sure enough, so I found my two little brothers, Yad and Vashem, and my mother sitting there, right there, sitting next to them. And they have no idea what they're waiting for, and the others don't have any idea what they're waiting for. Seeing the mind can play tricks. We all saw it, and we denied it internally. We did not accept it. That could not be. You cannot be taken out of your home for no reason whatsoever, transported to a place. The day you arrive, everyone is killed, and you're supposed to accept it, yes. So I did a good thing. And make a suggestion, not under 10 for sure, but 16 is a very grown-up person, can think and understand and remember. Over 10, but it can also be done in measures, Even if you take a 10-year-old, 11-year-old to the Holocaust Museum, they don't absorb everything. They can see enough and not really be very upset, because you can guide them. I think after 10, they should know something. And when they're teenagers, they should know everything, and they should read books, lots of biographies, and read the history of fascism in Germany, and to study how fascism came about, and how the Jews were trapped so completely and destroyed with a plan that the Jews were not aware of the plan. My family never heard of Auschwitz. People in Hungary never heard of Auschwitz. And within a day of arrival, they were snuffed out, murdered. They should know that. They should know what people can do to each other.
Done of millennials and Gen Xers, and 2/3 of them were not aware of that 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. A huge number of young people don't even know what what Auschwitz is. Right. There is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done in this regard. I will tell you, in Fairfax County alone, in the Fairfax County Public Schools, as I'm working on this, there are children, people are talking about anti-Semitism on the college and university campuses. I am telling you, in Fairfax County, one of the most educated counties, not just in Virginia, but in the entire United States, there is anti-Semitism that's occurring in K through 12. Children are coming to school and they are seeing swastikas in the classroom. They are getting mocked. These are all true stories. Children having money thrown at them because they're Jews. Jokes, and I hesitate to say this in front of you, but jokes were, what's the difference between a Jew and a pizza in an oven? I don't even want to finish the end of that little punchline. So it's going on right here in Fairfax County, Virginia. We have a lot of work to do. Yes, if you go to the Holocaust Museum, you'll see that there's an appropriate area for children, and obviously, which is different than adults. But in my opinion, you can be gentle, but you wait till high school, it's too late. Because there is a lot of teaching that's anti-Semitic these days. Many are saying, yeah, there was the Holocaust, but look at all the other genocides. There is no but. There is no but. So I want to move along.